Hi, welcome to the Fight Matrix Undisputed podcast. I will be your host, and my name is Heather. Today, our guest is a true pioneer in the world of combat sports, Henry Jones. For 38 years, Henry has been one of boxing's most recognizable and respected voices, announcing on major platforms including ESPN, HBO, Showtime, and USA. Most recently, on May 29th, he added DAZN to his distinguished resume.
Mhm.
Henry will go down in boxing history as the first African American ring announcer, and he is known for getting the crowd roaring, being very professional, and having a stellar delivery. His journey spans iconic fights, global travels, community leadership, and authorship, all contributing to a legacy that continues to elevate the sport. It's an honor to have him here with us today. Hello, Henry. How are you doing today?
We're ready to do it, so let's step to it.
I love it.
It's an honor for me to be here, Heather. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on here. So, okay, what drew you into the world of combat sports and how did you make your journey as a ring announcer?
Oh man, how much time do we have? Boy, all right, let's give you the cliff notes on it because it's been a
Okay.
circuitous journey. I tried a whole lot of other things and failed miserably. Actually, I was traumatized as a youth coming through grade school, middle school, and the stage plays. I was always the understudy to the main character. Never got on stage, but I had a photographic memory. So they would have me behind the curtains, and I would tell the actors and actresses when they missed their lines what their lines were without a script. Yeah, I don't care how thick.
Jeez.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't
you
care
should
how
have
thick
been
the
up there
script
doing
was.
it.
Yeah, so I would whisper. I was truly, literally, and figuratively waiting in the wings, and so I never got on stage. So I think it carried over into my adult life, and I tried other things to get on stage. I tried to be a an actor.
Okay.
Got on stage, and after the run was over with, the director said, "You have stage presence. I could see you playing Othello in about 40 years." I said, "40 years?" He said, "You got to go through that angst and that grief and all of that." I said, "No, I don't." So I
You're
tried
like,
my
no,
best.
thank you.
Right. So I tried to be a comedian, right? And that didn't work out. I was terrible. I got hit with an egg on stage one night, and that's when I realized the yoke was on me. You get it? Yoke, yoke. You're the only
The on
one
you.
that laughed. So that didn't work out, and I thought about it. I said, I know I'm good at something. What is it? Got back to boxing. I had been watching boxing since I was probably 13, 14 years of age. I said, yeah,
Okay.
I know these guys. And so I went to the DC Boxing Commission with the idea to become a color commentator, that talk about
Okay.
the fighters as they're performing. And so the
Yeah.
deputy commissioner at the time, may rest in peace now, Mr. Ware in DC, he said, well, we don't have any TV contracts, but obviously you're articulate, you know boxing. You want to be on the microphone, why not be the ring announcer? I said, no, I wasn't thinking about that. He said, why not? I said, I don't know. I just wasn't thinking about it. Then he gave me that epiphany moment. The light bulb went off in my mind. He said, there
Hmm.
were never any prominent black ring announcers in the history of boxing. Somebody's got to be the first. Why don't you take the challenge?
Right.
It went off. Ding, ding, ding. I said, wow, you're right. Okay, I'll try it. And here we are 38 years later, and I'm the first prominent
Wow.
black ring announcer in the history of boxing, as you said. So thank
That's
God.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
You've had a nice decorative history, right?
Yeah,
With
and
boxing.
it's not over with. You said having.
No, having. Okay, well, you have debuted with DAZN,
Actually, that's
right?
right.
In Allentown in May.
Yes, and
How was
and more to
that?
come. More to come. They really liked
Yeah.
me with it was Red Owl Boxing
Okay.
organization that put the fight card on the zone, and they really liked me, so they said they're gonna take me on the road with them. So
Nice.
yeah, so it's
So
it's
you like
it's a
that.
blessing, and doors are opening, and on July 15th, I'll be in a movie coming out
Oh,
on Hulu called They Fight. It's a boxing movie, and we filmed it back in November in Baltimore. And the A-list actor you may know is a guy named Wendell Pierce. I don't know if you know that name. You ever
Hmm.
watched The Wire?
Yeah, I love The Wire.
He
Which
was
which
Detective
one?
Bunk. Detective Bunk always had the cigar in his mouth. Detective Bunk with McNulty. And so
Yeah, okay.
he's the A-list actor. He plays a boxing trainer, and they
They were
call me
crazy. That was a
to
good
play the
one.
part of the ring announcer. So that will premiere on Hulu July
Okay, it's called
17th. So that's
They
going to
Fight.
words too.
What is it called? They Fight?
They fight. They fight.
Okay,
And it's
on
based on
Hulu.
an amateur boxer out of DC, and he's now 8-0,
Yeah,
8 KOs as a pro under Danny Swift Garcia Promotions in real life. So, yeah, this is a true
that's
to life
impressive.
story.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's a good thing. So that's
Okay,
how I got to be a ring announcer.
okay. Gotcha. I like that story. Very
Thank
nice.
you.
You're welcome.
And along with that, let me tell you about the
Yeah,
name. You
yeah.
said Henry Jones, but ring
Yeah,
announcer.
I was gonna ask about the name. I didn't ask
Okay.
yet, but
So let
yeah.
me
What
ask
about the
this.
name?
And I was looking at a fight when I was in a senior in high school.
Yeah.
And my sister knew I was into words, so she bought me a thesaurus because I had read the
Oh
entire
gosh,
dictionary. Yeah. So I knew words and what they meant. And I knew words used against you could hurt you. So she said, I want you to learn all these words so you'll know what people are talking about. So she bought
okay.
me a thesaurus. So I was listening to a color commentator
Yeah.
describe a fight, and he spoke like this. Let me ask you who this is. He said, never mind precedent ring experience have I ever seen a fighter so utterly discombobulated. Do you know who that renowned voice belonged to? He's no longer with us, but he and Muhammad Ali made each other famous.
It's not
Howard
Lennox. It's not Sugar
Cosell.
Ray or. Oh, I
Howard
was gonna say Lennox
Cosell.
Lewis, but it's
Howard
not.
Cosell.
Oh, Howard Cosell. Oh, that
That
didn't he? Okay, he says. I know what his line. There's a big or there's a something about the Joe Frazier fight when they go
down
down, down
goes
goes.
Frazier. Down goes
Yeah,
Frazier. That's him.
yeah, okay.
I ran to
I
and he said when he
I
said
watched that fight before.
right,
Well, not on, my time, but it was
right.
a rerun.
That's right. Yep. So when he said that
Classic.
word discombobulate, I ran to the dictionary. It wasn't there, but I went to the
That's
thesaurus my
cool.
sister had bought me, and it was in there. And it said to upset the composure of, to render senseless, completely knock out. I said, "Wow, that's a word." So when I became a ring announcer, I said, "I got to come up with something that's going to get the sports writers and the media attention." And I thought about that word. And I had been through a lot of things that could have discombobulated me in life, relationships, the street, and all that craziness.
Yeah.
So thank God, I was able to turn my life around. So I started calling myself discombobulating, being the one action verb to do the knocking out positively in life. So that's how the
I
name
like
stuck.
that.
Discombobulating Jones.
I like discombobulating Jones. It's
So there
very
you have
nice.
it.
So, as the first African American ring announcer in boxing history, how do you reflect on your legacy?
Well, I actually trying to establish a legacy of leaving something behind for people to emulate, to take up the mantle. So I'm having open auditions for
Okay.
ring announcers in different cities where I go to announce. And
Nice.
so the thinking is that I want to film it for a pilot for a possible reality show. And at the same time, when I can't announce fights in different cities, I'll have people at the ready. So last weekend, I was able to have a young man that I mentored from New Jersey come to Maryland to announce a fight while I was in Philadelphia announcing the fight. So that
Okay.
promoter from Maryland called me this morning. He said, "Man, that was a great hire, man." He said that guy. He said he's definitely your protege because he had the crowd
Um,
going just like you do. He said, so
well,
I really appreciate you. So, that's what I want to do, and I'm empower other people. So I think that'll be the
yeah.
mark of my legacy that I leave behind.
Want to elevate the sport and the people. Yes. That's
That's
what I
right.
like. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, you know what? You know what you're doing. You've had almost 4 decades of this to like have a pool of people and set them up to do that
That's
because you
right.
know what you're looking for. You know what you
That's
need.
right. I know what the people and the public and the
You know
fans
what
want.
they need too.
That's
Yeah.
because that's what it's all about is entertainment. So I got probably
Well, I have a
the highest compliments I could ever get last weekend in Philadelphia. The executive director of the Philadelphia Boxing
yeah.
Division, Ed Kunkel, he said, Jones, he said, I got to tell you, man, all
Yeah.
the ring announcers I've ever seen, I think you're the best. I said, why you
Uh,
say that? He said, because you read the room. He said, you know, when there's a downtime or something not going right, he said, the crowd doesn't even know it because you fill in the gaps. You know how to ad lib. You get them laughing, you know, you crack jokes and you recognize people. And, you know, so I take pride in that, you know, because that's what it's
yeah.
all about. No downtime. You don't ever want to hear boo. You never want to hear
Right.
that. You
Okay,
know,
I
"Oh,
hear
I
you.
want my money back. Oh, man, the worst, you know. So I take pride on doing my research. I find out whose
Okay.
birthday it is that day. Then I ask the crowd who has a birthday today. Let me tell you who you share your birthday with, you know, and they love that. You know, they want to be people want to be recognized, you know. And I say, well, on this day, this is what happened in history, and I give them that as well, and they love it, you know. So,
Okay.
you know, that's what separates me from other ring announcers.
You bring them in. You draw them in.
That's right,
The
all night
crowd.
long. Yeah,
Really? That's great.
thank you.
I watched something that you've done online. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And it was just something that you were doing. But so I wanted to know something. Is this recently you wrote a book? It's called
No,
It's
not
More Than a
recent.
Notion.
Actually, that
How
book
long ago
is
was it?
about 25 years old, but it's
Okay,
still
I was
relevant. And so I go
okay.
into schools and I read excerpts with students because it talks about life. It talks about
Yeah.
things everybody can relate to. You know, home situations, dysfunctional families, relationships,
Yeah.
street, drugs, grief,
Okay.
loss, death, overachieving, you know, accomplishing
Okay.
things. So it's something everybody can relate to in some form or fashion. So that it gets them it stimulates them to get them to talking. That's what you want, to exchange
Okay.
dialogue, for them to look introspective of what they can do to overcome their lots in life. So
To
teachers
kind of
love
have a radical acceptance or
it. That's right.
something.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
been read in different educational curriculums, you know, for the last
That's
20 something
cool.
years.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wrote
What
it
in
in this the thing, Heather. I wrote it in a
Yeah.
wry humor kind of way, even though
Okay.
it's a serious situation.
Yeah.
Wrote it that way to get people to laugh, you know, because laughter is the best medicine. And
Yeah.
so, you know, more have laughed and cried. It's sad in parts, but more so it's uplifting. You know, I
I
talk
see.
about,
I
for
see.
example, when I was out there in the street, you know, full
Yep.
transparency, doing the drug thing and all that. So one Friday, I was going, and throughout the book, it always happened on a Friday, something bad.
No,
Because you know, at the end of the week, you're looking to get into something, and so it's
you're
always
like
a
not
Friday
Friday.
for me. And I just put the pieces together. You know, after writing a book, I said, "Wow, it's always a Friday." So anyway, this one Friday, I'm going to this club, right? You know, happy hour. So I meet up with this guy, and I thought I was smoking a joint with him, and so
Okay.
I just started feeling, you know, just strange. And so we get to the door. I started taking off my clothes in D.C. downtown.
Oh no.
Yeah, at the door.
No. Oh no.
Yeah. And so people start, it's
Henry.
summertime, people start laughing. And so the guy that gave it to me, he talked to this girl with his back to me, and then everybody started pointing at me. He turned around, he said, "Oh, no, that's my man." He came up to me, he said, "Look, put your clothes back on. I'm going to go inside and get you some milk." I said, "Milk?" I said, "Man, bring me a
What?
Jack Daniels, a Hennessy or something." I ain't no milk bring this drug down I'm about to tell you about. So he come back outside with the milk. I drink the milk and to humor him. And he said, "You like that feeling, huh?" I said, "No, I don't like that feeling." And then I looked at him, and psychologically, this is what I saw. Horns started growing out of his head. I said, "Oh,
What?
I
What
got
the heck
to
did he do to you?
I got tales from the hood. This is what I did to myself." my demons were coming out of him in my mind.
I
You
see what you're
understand?
saying. You did that, and then as a result, you're like, that's what happened. I shouldn't
So
have
I
done it.
started running to my car. He
What?
said, "Where you going?" I said, "I got to go home." He said, "I rode with you." I said, "You got to get another ride home." So now I'm riding through the streets, going around cars, thinking they going in slow motion, but actually I'm speeding, right?
Henry.
Because my perception is off, So I get up to this is what the kids love. I said, "Think about this now. What I'm about to tell you." I get up to this intersection. It's a
Yeah.
four-corner stop sign, and I'm
Dangerous.
I'm waiting for the stop sign. I'm waiting for the red stop sign to turn green.
What?
You heard me.
You're lucky you were safe and everybody else was safe. Everybody was safe, I'm assuming.
Exactly right. No stop sign ever gonna turn green, but in my mind, I thought it was a
No,
stop light. See,
no.
so it's
You're like, what's going
really
on?
dangerous
Aren't you going to
to
be
be out of your
green?
mind for a minute, just a minute out of your mind. Bad things happen. That drug was called in DC was the drug of choice back in the 80s called Lovely. It's formaldehyde that they embalming fluid
Formaldehyde? What?
they put on
That's
and put it dead
horrible.
people. They sprayed it on the marijuana back in the 80s, and that's what people was smoking.
I didn't hear about that. I swear I didn't. I never knew that.
Oh, it's
That's
terrible.
crazy.
It's like the fentanyl of today. Yeah.
Oh, that's some bad stuff. Yeah,
Yes,
fentanyl's
it
horrible.
is. So thank God I never did that again. So I saw that guy. This is
Oh
the
my
story
God. Thank
got me
God you're
going.
okay.
I saw that guy about 15 years later. I never saw him again after that day until 15 years later. And we had a Father's Day cookout and we talked about it. He said, "Man," he said, "I went into rehab after that." I said, "I cold turkey and never did it again."
Yeah, yeah, right? You guys were both stopping
Oh,
that.
thank God for favor. So yeah, so when I read extras like
You're
that out of
silly.
the book, they love it. And of course the relationship. Oh my God. Woo, man.
How
Yeah,
about what are some of the most fascinating places like or unexpected places that your career has taken you to?
China.
China, really?
China. I
Tell
announced
me
for
about
Manny
China.
Pacquiao promotions in China. Maybe
Really?
about this is right before the pandemic, so maybe about
Okay.
2018. And man, they loved me over there. They appreciated me over there because they had never seen a black ring announcer, of course. So yeah, I was you know revered, admired over there. So yeah, that
Yeah,
I
they
would say
probably
is number one on the
diversity. That's
list.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. And in Madison Square Garden, you know,
Yeah,
I opened up Radio City Music Hall one night. So
cool.
yeah, it's been some breakthroughs. It's been some momentous occasions. So
Has there been one time that you just got the crowd going and you didn't expect and they were just like so receptive to whatever you said?
yes, it was the exact date indelibly etched in my mind. It was February 22nd, 1998 in Washington, D.C. at the D.C. Armory. It was on ESPN. And the
Okay.
fighter's name was Mark Too Sharp Johnson. He's from D.C. He's the first African American flyweight to win that title in history.
Oh
So what
wow.
happened was he had written it in his contract for me to be the ring announcer. I had met him 10 years prior in 1988 when I started. And so I
Okay.
didn't know him from Adam, but I saw the talent was undeniable, unmistakable. He knocked
Okay.
this guy out in the first round, toyed with him, then he knocked him. I said, "Wow, this guy has superior talent." So after the fight was over, I went up to him. I said, "Hey, man, I could see you gonna be champ one day." He said, "You see that too?" And when he said two, I said, "Oh, he has vision for himself." He said, "Man," he
That's
said, "You got me
good.
pumped up." He said, "I just love your creative announcing, and when I become champ, I'm gonna make sure you're my ring announcer." 10 years later, he made both our dreams come true at the DC
That is
Armory.
nice.
So that's
That is
yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely,
See,
absolutely,
when
yeah,
you work with people and then down the road, it's just a nice collaboration or you get
that's
together
right.
partnership. And
That's
it's nice
exactly
to
right.
have friends that you help down the
Yeah,
line.
and that's how I am to others. That's right. Open
Yeah,
up
it's
doors,
nice.
because my philosophy, Heather, is that a strong tide floats all boats. So I want to be
Oh
that
yeah,
person,
I
to
think so. You
empower
have to be a
others.
good person
You
and,
do.
help other
That's right.
people.
And
I
another
think so.
thing, while we talking about it,
Yep.
not everyone that looks like me has been supportive of me in high places, like promoters that could have snapped their fingers and brought me on board. So
Yeah.
my mentor has been the person that doesn't even look like me, who's helped me the most and wrote the forward for my book, and that's Michael Buffer. Let's Get Ready to Rumble guy. And,
Okay.
and so he's helped me. He put me on stage at Madison Square, Radio City Music Hall, Atlantic City. And, he asked me one night in D.C., we had an HBO fight card at RFK Stadium.
Yeah.
And he said, why won't Don King and Rock Newman help you? Because he said, wow, he said, I don't get it. He said, you got the talent. So, I truthfully, I had a hatred, or some animosity, let's say, against these guys. And before my mom passed, she told me, you go back to those same two guys you've been telling me about and forgive
Okay.
them. I said, what? She said, yeah, because it's not for them, son. It's for you.
Yeah,
She
good
said,
advice.
obviously, they don't care about you, but you holding back your own blessings, so do that. So I went back to both of those
Yeah.
guys. I forgave them, and it's been nothing but blessings ever since.
Good
How
for
you do that?
you.
That's
Good
how
you
you,
listen to your mom. Good
that's right.
advice.
Oh, man,
That
yeah.
was some good advice.
Yes, it was. So, now in my
You can
latter
move
is greater
on.
than my former. So doors are opening up left and right for me now at the tail end of my career.
Yeah.
So I'm going
That's
full
really
force with it.
nice.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're known for your community involvement and you have speaking engagements. What
All the time.
motivates that work and what impact do you hope it has for everyone
Yeah.
involved?
Well, I'm a retired master degree social worker. People don't know that. I have several
Okay,
degrees.
no,
So
that's
I
very
was doing that
interesting.
for 37 years. And, while I was doing the ring announcing at the same time,
Ah,
you know. So I met a lot of people, especially the youth, who I would, empower through my
yeah,
work. Like, I remember this one young man, he would steal cars all the time, because I worked with
okay.
youth. He would steal cars. I mean, 14, 15 years old, just, grand theft
But
auto
he doesn't
every
really
day.
want the cars.
He was taking them to chop shops,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get money off the
of
parts.
course.
I said, wow. I mean, he could hotwire a car in less than 60 seconds, gone. I said,
Jeez,
something? You really have a
be an
love for
engineer
cars.
or
I said, why
electrician.
not become an auto mechanic and make
Yeah, or
good money
electrician or
honestly
something.
every
Yeah.
day? So I
Oh,
was able
mechanic, you're
to help
right.
him become a certified auto mechanic. Another
Wow.
young man, he would skip school and just play those video games, go to arcades and
Yeah.
all of that, a friend's
Yeah.
house, bet money, and get the highest score and all that crazy stuff. So I said, hey, I tell you what, I said, you have such a love for that. It must be your passion. He said, yeah. I said, what is it? What is it that piece? I just like the challenge of it. I said, I tell you what, I said, you get back in school, stay in school, get some decent grades. I'll
Yeah.
help you get an internship for the summer at EA Sports. You ever heard of that? He said, I play that all the
That's
time.
cool.
And so that's what I was able to do,
Wow.
is get him an
That's
internship.
nice.
They loved him. They said, wow, you could help us design a game. That's where the
That's
money
cool.
is.
That's very
That's right.
awesome of you.
So my philosophy is you got to find out what's interesting and what they're passionate about, and let them see for themselves, how they can market themselves to make honest money and an honest living. Everybody got
You seem
talent.
to be good at that. You seem to
That's
be
right.
good at that knack
That's right.
for finding what's pulling that out of them.
That's right.
That's nice.
What you give your hour to, you give your power to. That's right. So you gotta find out what your talents are, and strengths and weaknesses. Both.
Yeah.
It's all important, like I said earlier, I had to fail miserably in order to succeed successfully. So you can't be afraid to fail, because then you'll be afraid to succeed.
You're right. You're right. That's true.
Mhm.
Okay. When people look back on your career, how would you like your contribution to boxing to be remembered
Yeah. That
specifically?
that I just a testament to my faith, my perseverance, that I never gave up. With all the challenges that I've had, and there have been many, trust me, Heather.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why you haven't seen any other black ring announcers. Not that they didn't try, they tried and they were defeated, but
You
they gave
were
up.
one over hurdles, didn't you?
I never gave up. I knew I was
Yeah.
good. I just needed a break. And so I never gave up on my dream. And here it is 38 years later, and like that's why you're interviewing me now.
I'm really happy that you didn't give up.
That's right. So I want people to realize you got to follow your dream, no matter what. Now, if you believe in yourself,
Persevere. Have
and
that grit,
persevere.
right?
That's right. If it's within you, it's gonna come out, and other people are gonna recognize it.
Yeah. Okay, so if a young aspiring ring announcer asked maybe one essential piece of advice from you to give them, what would you tell them? What would it be?
You got to do your homework. You got to pay your dues about it. Don't think about the money. Let that be the
Okay.
last thing.
Yeah, I
Let it
agree.
be,
With
if it's your
everything.
passion. That's right. You have to have a passion for it. You can't just look at it one way. You got to be all consuming for real. The first maybe 12 to 15 years, I didn't get paid in money. I got paid in experience and exposure.
Okay,
I would
okay.
drive up and down the East Coast from here to Atlanta, all the way up to
Yeah.
Buffalo, just,
Yeah.
yeah, just to get that experience and exposure. You can't buy that.
No, you
You want
can't. You're
people to
right.
see you. Buffer believed in me, you know. So I told him, I
That's
said, no,
nice.
you know, if you can just help me get on board to be seen, I appreciate that.
So you guys are friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah. So you got to pay your dues. You got to know who's who, what's what. Look at if you're serious about this thing, look at everything. Look at all the TV fights. Go to the live fights. Meet people.
Yep.
Look at the trainers, the managers, of course, the fighters. You want to
Yep.
be well versed. Read.
Hmm.
I subscribe to the magazines. KO. I've got hundreds of magazines from back in the '80s that are worth something now. You know, because it taught me when I was a kid. I had all these comic books, Heather,
Yeah.
cost a
Me
nickel
too.
at the time, and I had to. Mm, tears me up. You think about it. My mother had me throw the comic books away because we was moving to a new house. I had boxes and boxes and boxes that spilled out on the curb into the street.
Oh.
Right, and this young white boy was riding along with his father in a station wagon, and saw the comic books, spilling in the streets from the curb. He said, "Dad, look!" And so the dad came. I'm sitting on the porch now, looking at
Oh
these comic
my
books. The
gosh. You're
dad
like,
came up to
no,
me and
don't
said,
take them.
"Young man," he said, "Are you throwing these away?" I said, "Yeah, my mother said we can't take them to the new house. We don't have room." He said, "Can I have them?" I said, "Yeah." Don't you
Oh.
know I would be a millionaire to this day had I kept those original comic books with the covers? Thor,
And the
Batman,
sleeves or
Aquaman,
whatever,
Black
right?
Panther, Daredevil, Spider-Man, Superman.
Oh
I had
my
them all.
God.
I had them all. I was obsessed with reading comics every day because I
I
was
like
living
this
through them
place
vicariously.
too.
Yeah, I didn't have the superpower, so I would live through
Well,
them
that's okay.
vicariously. Yeah,
You did have a superpower because in your ring
I did.
announcing, I think you have a
I
superpower.
did.
I think you're
I did.
lying to me.
I did. I didn't know it, of course. And so
Yeah,
before
but
me,
you
this gonna
did.
get you.
You
So
do.
here it is,
It's there.
60, 60 years later. 60 years later, before my mother passed, she called me to her bedside. She said,
Yeah.
"Son, forgive me for making you throw those comic books away." I said, "What?" We hadn't spoken about
Come
it in
on, no.
60 years. She knew it hurt me. And before she passed,
Aw.
she asked me to forgive her, and I started crying, Heather. I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe you remember that." She said,
Your
"No."
mom was thinking about that all those years. For real. I'm sorry.
She might even heard that they were worth money. Somebody might have told her, "Oh my God, your son would have been a millionaire," because all those movies came out based on those
They all
comics.
did.
I had
Yeah,
Black
I used to
Panther.
watch Storm. Wouldn't you Black Phantom?
I had Black Panther comic.
Black Panther?
Yes,
Oh, I used to watch those movies. I like all that stuff. I love it.
I still
I
do.
wanted to be Storm. I was like, I read them all. They were all nicely put
Right,
in the thing. I had like,
right.
they were
I
organized.
had X Men. You remember X Men?
Oh yeah, X-Men was weren't they? X-Men was like the original, like Marvels.
That's
They
right.
were the ones.
That's
They're
right.
the
That's right. I had it. Hell,
anybody who loves the comic books, especially like Marvel and stuff or whatever. It's cool. Or
yeah,
even DC. I think
yes.
it's fun. It's
I love it
nice.
all. I had all of them.
Yeah.
I had a look. I had a issue, a
Hmm.
comic book where Prince Namor. Do you know who that is? Submariner. The Submariner.
No.
He was king of the sea, the underworld.
Nope.
So he came out of the ocean and he fought the Hulk on land.
What?
Right.
The
So
King
I
of the
guess I
Sea
was
fought the
always
Hulk?
he fought the Hulk. He picked the Hulk up and threw him. And Hulk
Yeah,
said,
the
"What?"
Hulk had no choice, right?
He said, "Hulk said, what manner of mortal this be?" And Prince Namor said, "I'm no mere mortal. I'm Prince Namor." And they
You're
fought to a
silly.
draw because Namor had to go back into the sea because his oxygen was running out. I had that comic book that would be
That's
worth
neat.
hundreds of thousands of dollars to this
I
day.
can't believe the funny thing is, we're gonna wrap it up here, unless
Okay.
I'm gonna see if you want to say anything at the end. But the funny thing with what you're saying is, a lot of us went through that, and our parents made us get rid of that stuff. They did, and they're
Yeah.
like, "You don't need that," or
Yeah.
whatever. Come on, a lot
Yeah.
of our parents, and look at how much we would have had in coins or cards or
Yes.
comic books.
Yes. All of that. But
They
see, you can't blame them because they didn't have a mentor just like we didn't have a mentor. And so
right,
that's why I'm a mentor now to many, to tell
very
to keep artifacts, preserve
yes,
things, because they'll be worth something one day,
very
so
much so.
yeah. So that's my advice to the youth, to
Okay,
preserve what you have, to keep your own vision about things so that you can market yourself, because
I
we all
like
got
that.
talent. Definitely all have talent. Just got to find
I
out
agree.
what they are, plural, what they are. So that's my
Okay,
good fight in life, Elder.
all right. Well, it was wonderful having a
Thank you.
conversation with you and interviewing
Likewise.
you. Henry, you're very nice, and it was
Thank
great
you.
getting to know you, and you're funny too.
Yeah, yeah. See, I ended up becoming a comedian after all, didn't I?
Bravo, you won. You won all around.
Let me just say this last thing. My mom, unshakable faith. She told me when I was a young boy, she said, "Son, you're going to be great one day." I could tell. I was straight A student. She said, "Oh, this is marvelous." She said, "You're a quick study. You're gonna be great one day, but remember this: it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice." So that's what I've taken as my philosophy, just to be nice. So thank you so much for saying it. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I agree with you, by the way.
God bless you, Heather.
You too.
You
Bye.
take
Take it
care now.
easy.
Bye bye.